Yo, UCLA, what do you think about some girls like being on Bedpage? Do you know what Bedpage is? What about Bedpage 2 or 2Bedpage? You gotta look it up, man. 2Bedpage is basically a website where you could basically pay for girls. And Bedpage is like the same thing, except like, well, yeah. I guess it's not interested. I'm like, why not, dude? I was like, get it? Because he literally had a girl right next to him. I was like, that's pretty crazy. But, if autistic people just don't get anything in America, I'm like, it's all cool. It would have been nice to just do slave labor. Like, literally just do slave labor. Like, I kind of like masonry. It's kind of cool. Or like brickwork. Brickwork's kind of cool. And I get like Bedpage, and Bedpage 2 has like a lot of these girls that are for sale. I don't know, like Jasmine and all these other people, but that's pretty crazy. I'm like, shoot. So basically, that's how most of the women like actually get to colleges. I'm like, UCLA, what do you think about that? I'm like, I literally have proof. I'm like, I've already kind of put too much out there. I guess they don't care. They're like, well, we could do the same thing. I'm like, that's actually a pretty good point. I'm like, man. Well, like, I guess that's women's empowerment. I don't hate on it. I'm like, if you need to go to college, do whatever you gotta do to get into college. It's funny because people try to say that I'm racist. I'm like, if I'm going to be anything like that, I'm definitely not going to exclude anybody at that point. If I'm just going to hate on one group or criticize, if even not hate, I'm just going to criticize or what you call hate on them all. I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. I don't even hate UCLA even still now, after I literally caught, one of their nurses spying on me while I'm trying to panhandle or anything else. And I literally am still not even mad, even though I'm being retaliated against, not even in the workplace or like at school or like, just, I guess, in public, especially retaliated by the police or any of these security companies. I'm like, I'm not even mad. I'm like, that's just sad. That just doesn't make anything look any better. But what are you going to do? You're just going to tear these nice buildings down? That's what you're going to do? Especially now that there's AI. What's the point in even going to university now? I'm like, I understand autistic people, they don't get to have anything. They don't get to have families. They don't get to have schooling or education or employment or, any of that. I understand. We understand now. Gosh, we're like our own Asian people and Jewish people at the same time, because we get put in concentration camps, which are basically like psych wards, and, we're our own Jewish people because we get discriminated against entirely, even out in public or, in social services or anything. Even the professors get to have they get to have a life, of course. I'm like, great one, just nice one. I'm like, that's what happens when you're autistic. I guess you don't get anything. You don't get to have anything. You apparently don't deserve to have anything because you just criticize other people. That's it. Fudge. And you're criticizing other people to make sure that, your rights and future are protected. But I guess for trans rights or women's rights, good one. Nice one. Very good job. I'm like, that's a very awesome job. I'm like, gosh, Bedpage and all that. Even those people that literally say, like, Me Too and all that, or it's not even a thing anymore. There's no Me Too movement. all because like there's a Diddy trial. I'm like, it makes sense because some of those people are LGBT. They literally would either have to sell themselves or, you know, they would basically just they'd just be sexualized to the point where, like, yeah, you're probably going to be, you know, diving into that space, and then, like, it's already bad enough that, like, there's pimps out there, but LGBT pimps, basically. I'm like, oh, now it makes sense. I'm like, is that basically what Antifa is? Or, like, these Palestine protesters? Because with the Palestine protesters, I'm like, why are they so interested in a small section of the world that has the majority of population of, like, that's just made up of children? I'm like, why? That makes no sense. I'm like, I don't want to see a Palestine protest at UCLA or USC at all, but I don't think it would ever happen again after I say this one. That makes you, you know, realize where their priorities are. They literally just want to enslave children. I'm like, oh. So that way the prostitution could happen, and then so that way you could teach people to basically hide human trafficking, but not just human trafficking where, like, you know, some people just want to come into a country. Like, you literally just want to pay for your girls. I like, dude, I get it. I understand, dude. Like, I didn't know it was like that. I was like, I understand now. UCLA just wants to pay for some girls, and, like, it could be on the low, dude. I didn't understand. Like, fudge. Also, get it, like, you can be autistic. You can literally cooperate or, like, you know, behave nicely. They still won't care. They're like, nope. You've already said too much. Now we're not going to let off your neck. And I'm like, all good. You can concentration camp me now. Really, autistic people are like their own Asian people. I'm serious. You can concentration camp me now. I'm like, seriously. And then like their own Jewish people, I'm like, yep, that's right. I'm like, I guess that's autistic people for you. They don't get to have an education. They don't get to have schooling, and I've basically gotten everything taken from me. I got my dog taken from me. I got, you know, my housing taken from me. I got all my, you know, employment opportunities, my schooling opportunities. I'm like, seriously, dude. I'm like, and these kids are smart. I'm like, you want to see how smart they are? I was going to pass this up, but trust me, like, it doesn't matter whether they're like a couple or, you know, just a girl or a trans person or anything. They're pretty smart. Let's see what they're saying. Health tips. Swallow your zinc. Zins. Oh. Wow. So drug use. They're like, oh yeah, you just take drugs. You do weed, so you don't deserve anything. You just deserve to be in a psych ward and, you know, receive mental health, and that's it. I'm like, I guess whatever. You guys are literally working with pimps and criminals in the workplace or out of the workplace anyway, so whatever. Live It free card got denied. So like Social Security, my Social Security card doesn't even really work because I don't get Social Security. Let's see what this other one says. Westwood celebrates grand opening of empty storefront. Like empty, like, you know, autistic people don't get to have anything. And like a storefront, we don't get to own our business or like any sort of business or have any employment opportunities or whatnot. Let's see what the rest says. Because I had like these like students like leave like very subliminal messaging as well. Too bad. Amscreen or whatever. I don't even know what that says. We spend $5 million on a new quarterback. What? Oh, basically like like some people like getting into a lawsuit because of police brutality, but like they're like literally trying to stop me from like receiving a lawsuit to get compensated for anything that I actually need, whether it's like millions or like, you know, billions or whatever. I don't even know. It would be better than, you know, LA just throwing their money down the drain. Basketball player unionized after the highest gay per capita women's national basketball draft. I'm like, whatever, I guess. I'm not even hanging on him. I'm like, tall girls, nice one, fudge. But no tall girl wants an autistic person that doesn't get to have anything in America. Athletes should only ride scooters if their team has won a championship in the past 10 years. Okay, it's just opinions, like, just very distracting headlines and, like, just performances and these weird, events going on around the campus. I'm like, gosh. Imagine if, like, USC, like, saw my videos and they're like, you know what? This person has a lot of dilemmas in his life. Whether it's, like, systematic, or it's, like, institutional dilemmas, or it's, like, educational dilemmas, or employment dilemmas, or, I don't know, public perception dilemmas. USC will be like, oh, well, we'll give him a chance anyway. I'm like, that is not, that, first off, that's never going to happen. But I'm just saying, like, if it were to happen, I'm like, that's, I would want to say something like, that's not even fair, but, like, I wouldn't really hate on it. I'm like, well, I'm not somebody desperate to just take any option. I could just refuse USC. But, like, if I criticize UCLA and they're legit on, like, prostitution sites, like, legit this time around, like, you can look up 2bedpage or, bedpage.com. I'm like, well, 2 of your deans were caught in, like, sex scandals, but whatever, I guess. I'm like, whatever. I'll just take it. Gosh. I'm like, at least it's not UCLA. They literally had me studied here. Experimented. I know. I just had to call it UCLA just to take it easy. So, yeah, I was basically experimented at UCLA for having autism. And they basically had all my information there for, and then on. Very simple. I'm like, seriously, I got experimented on for autism. I was like, was it because of Koreatown? I know I called out Koreatown, but, like, I know the Yakuza is mad at me because I would hang out in Little Tokyo. Gosh, and then with the Chinese, like, they just don't like anybody anyway. So just lay off, fudge. I'm gonna take these brochures because I'm like, I, like, literally don't have anything else to do. That's what happens when you have autism and people don't allow you to actually have a job. They don't allow you to have an education. They don't allow you to have personal property. And they definitely don't allow you to have, a property to live in or any kind of housing. Like, that's what you get, I guess. I'm like, look, even, like, a homeless person just walking in UCLA. I'm like, there, now I'm just going to spy. I'm just going to be not even a corporate spy, like, just a public service spy. That's it. That's all an autistic person could do. Just a public service spy. And at the end of this video, I'm just going to put the screenshots to all the girls that are actually selling themselves to go into UCLA, and that's it. And no community could do anything about it. Not the Mexican community with their cartels or their Mexican Mafia. Not the Chinese or Korean community with their, Korean or Chinese Mafia. Definitely not the Japanese community with their Yakuza. And definitely not these Middle Eastener, trans-international gangs or whatever. I'm like, no, none of them are going to do anything this time around. I'm just going to put it all out there. Fudge. Gosh. There. Goodness. I don't even know what to say. I'm like, I might as well. Definitely when they got the technology to, like, spy on people, I'm like, 100% I'm not letting up now this time around. I'm like, that's right. I'm like, especially We got Russians to Middle Easterners, and like, you know, and then don't forget about the Ukrainian like gang members, and like Indians to Pakistanians, and like, you know, Iranian gang members, and for good reason. Like UCLA girls selling themselves on Bedpage 2 or 2 Bedpage, sorry, and like bedpage.com. I'm like, yeah, Iran, you're not innocent. Neither is Pakistan or India or anywhere in between. So I'm in on it. I'm going in. Fudge. Let's see what the first headline says. Student deportation sparks concern at college. I'm like, what do you think about like cartel, like, you know, being able to come into the country and use the entire Mexican population within America to like spy on one autistic person? I'm like, Pakistanis, Iranians, Indians, any Middle Easterners, get it? There's nothing for them to say because they literally work with them. They literally want to sell girls and guys and, you know, trans people and children and everywhere in between too. So whatever. God bless everybody.